Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome to the demo for HeistGeist by Double Quote Studios, a cyberpunk deck-building narrative RPG, which obviously has a pretty heavy cyberpunk flair. And you know, as a card-carrying 80s kid, that immediately pushes all the right buttons for me, you know. That neon-soaked, overwhelmingly purple design aesthetic has always appealed to me. I'd paint my house like that if I knew it wouldn't sear my retinas and cause me to go blind. Well, blinder. Now this is an interesting one because although it is a deck builder, it's less Slay the Spire or Maho Kenshi, and more like Griftlands, another game that I always really kind of wanted to touch on, but I just never found time for. It's very heavily story-driven, with fully voiced character dialogue, and what appears to be a fairly in-depth story. Though, obviously we only get a very small slice of that in this demo. The player does get to make small narrative decisions, but I'm curious to see if the player will be able to make grander decisions, ones that actually change the course of the story in the eventual final release. But I digress. Let's get in there. Oh, right, and these events are not narrated, so you'll have to put up with me. Sorry about that. Istro City Blues. Alex sighed. Ever since that botched run in Venice, things have gone to shit. She was no closer to finding the prototype than she was a week ago. With only 2 weeks left, the looming deadline was hanging above her as a sword of Damocles. The client was getting quite impatient, and there's no telling what they might do if they get even angrier with her. Alex chuckled to herself, as if things could get any worse. As she continued walking through the deserted nighttime docks, deep in her thoughts, Alex almost ran straight into the line of sight of a security drone. Cursing her lack of focus, she quickly looked around for a way around it. She can't afford the risk of being followed to Kasaba's boat. The whole point of a secret hideout is that no one knows you're there. We'll go for the crane. I tried the shipping crates in my test game, and it did not go well. Alex managed to sneak behind the crane just in time before the drone turned around. As she looked around, she saw no way of continuing on her way while maintaining cover. Maybe it's finally time for a more proactive approach, Alex thought to herself. Drawing her blade, she stepped towards the drone. Fair enough. This is, after all, the combat tutorial. Your goal is to defeat all the enemies in a turn-based card combat before they defeat you. To do that, you use cards in your hands that represent attacks and various actions. Cost required to play a card is displayed in the top left corner. Its effect is described in the text box. To play cards, you use action points. They replenish at the start of your every turn. Cards you play go to your garbage. Once there are no more cards for you to draw from, your garbage gets shuffled to create a new deck. Yeah, I had a few garbage decks back in the day. Man, I do not miss playing CCGs. Once you do not want to, or cannot, play any more cards, you manually end your turn with this button. Thanks, never would have figured that out. Your hand size limit is 5. If you have more than 5 cards in your hand at the end of your turn, you discard cards until you meet the limit. Right, so pretty standard deck building mechanics. But one thing they did not cover, rather inexplicably, is Alex's unique fighting style, which uses a series of sequential cards to gain additional bonuses. You'll notice all of her cards here have letters A, B, or C on them, though in this case we did not draw any B cards, which means I can't actually show you any combos. But the general gist of it is that by playing cards in sequence, you gain additional bonus effects. A to B, B to A, or B to C for a finisher. It's a basic but pretty fun mechanic that once you get used to can allow for some really, really crazy combos. Though, as with most deck builders, you still have a pretty hefty dose of RNG in the mix. Case in point, our complete lack of bees. And we are completely spent. So, end turn. Aerial recon. That's new. Vigilance. When character with Vigilance is attacked, the attacker also deals the same amount of damage to self. Lasts for 1 turn. Well, that is a kick in the pants. Normally I'd just pass the round then, wait for that effect to wear off, but this is just the tutorial. And we're done. Not only did we destroy the drone, but we also stole its wallet. Walking home. The drone crashed to the wet ground with sparks flying in all directions. Luckily, there was no one around to hear that, sparing Alex of any more trouble. She grabbed the now defunct drone and dragged it across the ground to the edge of the pier. Best if no one finds you so close to the hideout, she thought to herself, as she kicked the drone into the dark waters of the Danube. For the rest of the way, Alex was more vigilant. After a short while, she finally arrived at the part of the docks where Caroline, Kasaba's boat, was anchored. Carl said he has a job lined up for them. It's time to get back to work.
Sasha, good thing you're here. Everything all right? You look kind of spent, if you don't mind me saying.
Ran into a recon drone on my way here, but it's been dealt with. You got any news for me?
I did some digging, made some calls, and I believe I found a codebreaker that fits Zoya's specs.
Nice. So, how do we get it?
Yeah, not really. You see, it's not exactly a common tool, and it's highly illegal to have it. Unless you're a private army or a security corps. But if a company like that would happen to go bankrupt, all of its assets get frozen. They are then securely stored until all the legal settlements take place. Sometimes that can take years. Luckily for us, there should be a decommissioned military-grade codebreaker stored safely in one of the Yggdrasil archives here in the city. With a few updates and a bit of Zoya's magic, it should be up to snuff.
Sounds good. Nice work, Karal.
We missed a chunk of dialogue back there. I'm trying to be light on the mouse button, but the dialogue advancing is a bit twitchy in the demo, so it's likely to happen at least a couple more times. Which is a shame, because the voice acting's actually pretty decent. Goodness knows, I've certainly heard worse. Welcome to the HeistGeist demo. You start in the hub on Kasaba's boat. Here you can talk to the members of your crew, or inspect and edit your deck of cards. On the city map, you can choose the demo mission that showcases all of the various game mechanics. In the mission itself, you move through the nodes on the map, and complete encounters, combat, hacking, and events. Rightio? And as you can see, we've got our crew arrayed before us, all of them eager to chat. Except for Kasaba here. So we'll just start with this cutie here instead.
Hey there, girl. That's some shit we found ourselves in, eh, girl? You're new to this, so I'll give you a quick recap, okay? There are people coming after me. My closest partner's been captured. Everyone's on edge. We have little to no money and even less time. And get this. We're searching for this thing. Prototype, they call it. And some people think I stole it, but I have no idea where it is. Which is a problem, you see, because there are some other people who would very much like me to fetch it for them. Ain't that a pickle? What do you think, Louisa? How do we get ourselves out of this,
Yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah, thought so. Bet a clever girl like you wouldn't even end up in a situation like this. But don't you worry. I'll figure it out somehow. Guess I gotta do it like you. Kick some dirt over that shit and move on, right?
Wow, Doggo's wise beyond her years. Though I guess they are dog years, so they probably add up faster.
Yeah, I guess I'll do just that. Thanks, Louisa. You're a sweetheart. Who's the good girl?
That is fantastic. Well, you saw it here. Game of the year. You can pet the doggo. Karel?
Karel?
Sasha!
Any thoughts on how we should approach this? Do we have...
Yeah, Yggdrasil Archives consists of 3 buildings. The site underwent some renovation in the mid-2030s. My source got me the schematics. They should be almost up to date. We're in luck, as our target should be in the main building with the lowest security. It even has a 24/7 public section and study rooms.
So we're talking automated security measures? Few guards, low-level firewalls, stuff like that? Understood. I'll take a look at the schematics and try to put a plan together. I was thinking, you said that our target should fit the specs and should be in the archives? That's a lot of uncertainty for my taste.
Well, you see, Yggdrasil Archives are basically a remote data vault. There is no way for us to know exactly what is stored there. The paper trail, so to speak, can be traced to the archives, and there are no other records mentioning it since. So it's safe to assume that our codebreaker is still lying there, abandoned and forgotten.
Yeah, but if it won't be there, we take unnecessary risks and lose precious time, while still being miles away from our primary goal. I don't like this.
Alexandra, you know damn well there are no guarantees in this line of work. I'm working the best I can with the resources we have. The rest is up to you. Sure, if we had more time, more people, and more money, we could play it differently. But frankly, Sasha, with a hand like yours, you are down to small stakes. I did what you asked for, to the best of my abilities. So, if you don't like it, fine. Just say the word and I'll be on my way.
Karel, I'm sorry. That was stupid of me. You know I appreciate that you are with me on this. It's all just been a bit much lately. It's not that I'm questioning your abilities. Honestly, I'm questioning mine.
No, I get it. I get it. We're all under a lot of pressure these days. I know you didn't mean nothing by it. Sorry for blowing up like that. That wasn't very nice either.
Let's forget about it and get back to work.
Missed another couple of paragraphs in there, but that's fine. We got most of it. I'd actually prefer if they just played out the whole conversation without me having to prompt them to continue after every sentence or two. Obviously with the ability to fast forward through the conversation if you want to. I just don't see the benefit in prompting the player to hit the mouse button after every sentence. Honestly, it really just kind of disrupts the cinematic feel of full voice acting. Alright, let's have a quick chat with our hacker, and then we'll run some shadows.
Hi, Zoya.
Hey, Alex.
Settling in all right? Got everything you need?
Yeah, thanks. Chaba provided me with this exclusive space here and helped me get everything set up. I sometimes used to work out of squats in the flooded parts of the city, so this is definitely cozy enough.
And Babka Cherniak allowed something like that?
Well, she has 12 grandchildren and a lot to take care of, and she's all about tough love and finding your own place in the world. But yes, she was pissed when she found out.
Is she okay with you being here? She knows, right?
Oh, she knows all right. There's no way in hell I could join a team like yours without her vetting you first.
Oh, I see.
She voiced some concerns. But I'm my own person, and I guess you look like a cool bunch of people.
Hope we won't disappoint. Both of you. So, what do you think about this archive heist?
I think it's super cool. Once I'm inside, we can steal much more than just an old codebreaker. It's like robbing a shopping mall.
Easy there, kid. What do you mean once you're inside? You're going nowhere. You'll stay here on the boat.
I will? Well, I mean, the whole place is physically isolated from the grid. You need to be on site to find the exact location of the package. What's more, it's a Yggdrasil site, so we can assume the grid security will be quite advanced here, which may turn out to be too much even for someone with your abilities. And I can help with that. I thought that stuff like this is why you wanted me on the team in the first place.
Yeah, but you have zero experience in the field. And should anything happen to you...
Alex, I get it. But I can take care of myself. And you can't really do this one with me sitting on the sidelines.
Shit. Okay. I'll try to think of something.
Okay, aside from Kasaba there, who seems like the... He does seem like the taciturn type. That's the crew. Aside from that, not much else to do. We could sit here and modify our deck if we really wanted to. But given that this is just a demo and I'm still getting used to this thing, I don't think we'll really fuss with it all that much. From what I've gathered, you'll gain additional cards during runs or by purchasing them from shops using the money that you earn from your runs. So pretty standard deck building mechanics there. So yeah, I think we're ready. Let's get this show on the road. I think the actual run itself is about half an hour long, so we should have just enough time to get through it. Job Overview. Magnum Opus. The plan. The mission is to infiltrate Yggdrasil Remote Data Center, retrieve the codebreaker from one of the servers, and exit undetected. Zoya will enter the grid under the guise of being a student of environmental sciences through a terminal in the public section. Alex, meanwhile, will access the restricted area where valuable assets are stored.
Our target is a decommissioned codebreaker stored on one of the servers in the Yggdrasil archives. To get our hands on it, we need to infiltrate the restricted area in the upper levels and download it manually.
The problem is that each server is isolated and accessible only through a dedicated terminal. So, we need to pinpoint the exact server with our goods on it first.
And how are we gonna do that? Well, we can't access the grid from the outside.
That's where you come in, Zoya. You'll enter the public section posing as a student of environmental sciences. Using a forged ID, you'll register for membership access to the study rooms.
Yes! And I will use the study terminal there to hack into the registry and locate the codebreaker. Got it.
Right. Meanwhile, I'll make my way into the restricted area in the upper levels, where the servers are located. I download the stuff, hit the elevator down, and no one will be the wiser.
I should be able to access their security systems from the same terminal. I can clear out the way for you.
But both of you, be extra careful. If anything, and I mean anything, smells fishy, you run for the exit. Capiche?
Yes, don't worry. I'll be careful.
Right, that's all. Any questions? Good. We leave in 30.
And here we are. The main event. Our two-pronged assault on a data storage facility that I've already forgotten the name of. But I do remember we're here to get a codebreaker. Apparently. Right off the bat, you'll notice that we have both Alex and Zoya on their own separate tracks. She's our hacker, so she has the thankless task of clearing the way for Alex. Alex can only go so far before Zoya has to do her thing. Registering for a student membership card. Zoya entered the lobby of the archive's public section. Even though she's quite removed from the real danger of the mission, she couldn't help feeling nervous about the whole enterprise. Taking a deep breath, she walked towards the reception desk to get her registration sorted out. She handed the man at the reception her forged ID card. He takes the polycarbonate card from Zoya and starts to fill out the registration form. She had memorized her new identity and answered his questions without any issue, until he asked a seemingly casual question about her field of study. She froze, her mind going blank as she struggled to remember her cover story. What was it? Oh, that's easy. It was environmental studies. That's why I read all the things. Zoya knew that the key to a successful lie was in the details. She started talking about the topic of her current research, but she quickly noticed that the clerk, despite his polite nodding, clearly wasn't listening to anything she said. With a well-rehearsed smile, he handed her a membership card and wished her a pleasant evening. So far, so good. Though alertness still went up, but that's because it increases every single turn. Things get slightly more dangerous the higher the alertness goes, but there are various things you can do to reduce it. Logging in. Zoya entered the study room, noting the placement of all the cameras at exits. The room was almost empty, save for a few students either sleeping or too engrossed in studies that they paid her no mind. She quickly identified a console with a clear view of anyone approaching, and sat down to it. Log on in. After logging in, she dutifully entered multiple queries for reports about various environmental incidents to make the logs from her console look believable. She then proceeded to secretly connect her deck to the machine. The grid awaits. Enter the grid. Tutorial: Hacking. Your goal is to get to the marked end node of the grid and access its contents. You have limited time to do so, 3 turns. This icon represents the defense of a node. By playing your programs and virus cards, you deal damage to it. Once a node's defense is brought down to 0, it is captured. When a node's defense drops below 0, it gets destroyed. Destroying an end node will make all of its contents inaccessible. If that end node were your objective, you have failed your hacking attempt. So essentially, with basic nodes, we can bypass them by capturing or by destroying them. But with end nodes, we have to capture them if we want the payload. There's no real danger to us aside from running out of time, so it's essentially a puzzle game, but with the RNG of card-based mechanics. And given that this is, of course, just the hacking tutorial, the node track is about as basic as it comes. We'll just jam through this real quick, and you'll pick it up pretty quickly. Also, there's no energy limitations on our turns here. We can basically keep playing programs as long as we keep drawing ones we want to play. But there is a hard cap on our hand of 5 cards. So we have to clear space before we can use cards like Lesovic to draw additional programs. Sorry if the mouse movements seem a bit erratic. I've got Kaiser camped out halfway across the mousepad watching the game. He's a cutie. Yeah, he really seems to take to these sorts of color palettes. I guess he's a fan of Cyberpunk too. Can't say I blame him. Also, we now have system access. But for how long? And as you see here, we could also stay in the grid if there were any other things we wanted to get done in there. But for now, we move on. On to the next access point. Tutorial: Hacking Part 2. Troll Bridge. A new type of node. Capture it to remove the troll. Destroying the bridge, bringing its defense below 0, will make nodes connected to it inaccessible. And there it is, our first troll bridge, which appears to be guarding another secondary optional end node. Based on the icon, I believe that's one that reduces the alert level. Patrol cleared. Let's grab those cameras. Yes. Alertness decreased by 2. That'll make things slightly easier for Alex. Nice. And now for the main payload. Zoop. Walls down. And now we need exactly 2 damage. Yeah, this'll work. Once we end our turn, we should capture that node. Yes, excellent. And we now have access to restricted area. Which means that Alex can now begin her approach. I mean, technically she could have already started her approach. She just wouldn't have gotten past the parking garage. Getting in through the window. As the garage entrance seems too risky, Alex looked for an alternative way into the archives. The windows on the ground floor seemed like a promising option. Well, right off the bat, I'm going to say that smashing a window on a secure facility feels like a bad idea. And we have no idea if Alex can actually pick locks. So we'll go with the path of least resistance. We'll just look for an open window. After a while of walking, Alex finally came across an open window. It was a bit odd, but the temperature was quite high that day, so it wasn't hard to believe that a janitor might have forgotten to close it. As Alex climbed through the window, she noticed the true reason it was open. An automated security drone on patrol. It immediately detected her presence. Right. Well, so much for avoiding a fight. But at least we got in. And we've got a much better mix of cards to play with this time. Let's chain these all together. There's our opener. That one gets us an extra card. There's another. This one gets us shields. And another card. And more shields. Ooh, haste. That's an extra action next round. And another card. And another. And a finisher, but we are out of energy, so sadly our chain comes to an end. That was a good one, though. Electric shock. That's a forced discard. We lost big finisher. Alright, let's start with preparation. Get ourselves some more cards. Though we will have to discard one. Nice. Another foe felled, another wallet stolen. On we go. To another guaranteed fight. Fantastic. Oh my, yes, that does seem slightly more serious. Okay, let's lead with... Oh man, we don't really have a good combo here. Alright, let's go with preparation again. And we'll dump uppercut. Nice. This I can work with. Hey, uppercut's back. Though, if we use that, we'd be out of energy. So let's go big finisher instead. Which sadly did not quite get the job done, but I think we'll be okay. Gravity beam. That cancels out our haste. Ow. Okay, finish off the turret. But we do not want to attack the drone this turn. Not until vigilance wears off, otherwise we'll just tear ourselves up. And unlike that combat tutorial, injuries here will carry over from one fight to the next. Poison dart. That's 3 damage over the next 2 rounds. Or less if we can finish the fight before then. Whoop, nope, that's for me. Charge forces a discard, so it was either that or a big finisher. Alright, we are double poisoned. So let's wrap this up. Nice, and we got a new card out of that. Toxic Healing. Which, from the sound of it, I assume, removes poison, and possibly heals you? Sadly, I don't think we can actually manipulate our deck while we're in mission. Yeah, so we'll have to wait till full launch to know what that card actually does. Dialogue event up next.
Okay, Zoya. I'm inside the restricted zone. What's your status?
Hey, hi. So, I managed to get into the public study rooms more or less without problems. And I found myself a nice little console away from the prying eyes.
Thank you, Zoya. Very reassuring.
Zoya, if you think you've been made, we need to abort. It's not worth the risk.
No. I'm fine. Really, no worries. Besides, we need this thing. We may not have another chance like this.
All right. But at the first sight of trouble, you let me know, okay?
Roger that.
Have you managed to find where our target might be stored?
Still working on it. Looks like there's some corruption in the index data, but I'll find it, don't worry.
But it is here, right?
Well, I mean, it should be. If the intel was good, it's just a matter of finding the right server. But you should definitely try to make your way to the top floors. Sensitive software like this is stored there.
Understood. Keep me updated. And be careful. But also hurry up. I can't be seen wandering door to door here until we locate the damn thing.
Oh, and we've got new nodes for Zoya to move up to. Let's push her up. Digging deeper. With Alex inside, Zoya can now concentrate on finding the codebreaker. As per Carell's intel, its former owner was a small failed arms company called Istrobotics Limited. Searching the public registry turned up only basic company info, but nothing substantial about their assets or where they ended up when the company folded. The data she's after is most likely barred behind special access permissions. Zoya surveyed the study room once more, just to be sure. With a few taps on her deck, she ran multiple programs, breaking through the cascade of registry's barriers. After a while, she was able to access a list of all the relevant companies and their assets stored here in the archives. Apparently, the company filed for insolvency in 2038, got all of its assets frozen, and they were only recently moved here for long-term storage. When Zoya attempted to access the asset database, her connection got abruptly cut off. Despite her repeated attempts, she was unable to access that data node again. Strange. Since this window is apparently closed, Zoya needs to look for some other way to find what she's looking for. It was a long shot, but maybe someone really filed an item under this name. Zoya's deck pinged her with an alert notification. It seemed that her keyword search had raised red flags within the grid security protocols, and now its ICE programs were tracing her connection. Oh dear, alertness raised by 1. That's probably fine. Zoya acted swiftly, initiating cloaking subroutines to throw off the trace and mask her location. And just as abruptly as it began, the trace was gone, and her deck's alarms silenced. Though she knew her programs couldn't have been the sole cause of this, it was clear that the particular data stream was no longer secure. And net alertness change -2. Okay. All these strange occurrences were starting to bother her. Was her deck causing some kind of system glitches on the console? Or was it something else entirely? Nevertheless, she was running out of options. The safest way was to manually look through the data map of the archives, aiming to find the physical location of the server housing Istrobotics Limited data. It was a laborious process, but Zoya was out of better ideas at this point. Decryption of the data revealed an intricate web of interconnected server nodes. She sighed as she began to enter inputs into her seeker algorithms. She suddenly noticed something strange. Data markers began to create a heat map concentrated around a specific cluster of nodes. Puzzled, she diagnosed her seeker algorithm and saw it continuously improving. She quickly initiated her hunter programs to determine other devices connected to this section of the grid. The markers suddenly stopped appearing, clearly highlighting the cluster in Section 6. And again, a net alertness decrease of 2. Plus a partial location, which I guess we'll call a win. Moving on. Exploiting an opportunity. Finding the codebreaker's location will be worth nothing if Alex won't be able to get to it. Zoya began scouring the grid for a way into the building security systems. There were limits to what she could achieve from this console, but she was determined to assist Alex in whatever way she could. Scanning the grid for vulnerabilities with her seeker programs, Zoya was surprised to find an open security port in an area that should have been off-limits. She quickly verified the connection, and though it was risky, she knew this was her best choice. Time was of the essence. Okay, looks like we've got 3 end nodes this time. 2 security nodes and our payload. Let's go for all 3. Double trolls. They are not making this easy. Nice. So that got us a maintenance corridor pass. Interesting. I guess the security nodes aren't always alertness decreases. Oh, boo. These are both too powerful for the troll now. We need some low damage cards here. And that will do. That should theoretically clear all the nodes for us. Yeah, that definitely got it done. So we now have access to the storage sections and a pass for the server corridor. Not to be confused with the maintenance pass, which we got from the other node. Alright, Alex, you're back on. Hopefully you can put all these passes to good use. The security control room. Alex spied the security control room at the end of the hall and approached it stealthily. The room was empty, surprisingly, so she decided to take a quick look around. However, she knew she had to be quick. The longer she stayed, the greater the risk of being caught. Let's go for the drawers. That's the only one I didn't get to try in my test game. She searched through the drawers with no specific goal in mind, but trusting her instincts. It paid off when she discovered a visitor ID badge, the type issued to people making withdrawals for free access to their storage. This could come in handy. Alex wasn't sure whether to poke around some more, or rather take her leave before she attracts any unwanted attention. Well, it pains me to do so, but we should probably go. Alex finds a first aid station. It might be a good idea to take a look at some of her wounds. The alternative being to loot the first aid kit instead. But given that we are down 25% on health, I think healing is a slightly better investment. Alex used the syringe in hopes that nanobots there will mend some of the wounds. And back to full. Fantastic. A sound down the hall. Alex continued on her way through the upper levels of the archive building. As she sneaked through the empty hallways, she immediately noticed that the silence of the deserted corridors was suddenly disturbed by an approaching sound. She heard it only faintly at first, but as the sound got closer, she could clearly make out footsteps echoing down the hallway. Whoever it was, they were coming her way, and approaching fast. The risk of being detected was high. Alex has to decide what to do, quickly. Well, we've got a visitor's pass. I'm pretty sure we can talk our way out of this. It didn't take long until a guard finally appeared in front of Alex. He stopped abruptly with a mix of emotions, and most likely a million questions in his face. Alex was in luck, as he didn't immediately reach for his weapon, clearly aiming to ask questions first. A rare sight for Vortex security guardsmen. Well, again, we have a visitor's pass. I feel like we could talk our way out of this pretty easily.
Hey, you! Stop right there! What do you think you're doing here?
Official business. Over your pay grade.
Easy there, officer. I'm on official business here.
Oh, is that right? Care to show me some credentials?
Yep, got it right here.
Here you are, officer. I believe everything is in order.
I see. Well, it checks out. But what business do you have in the restricted area? Why wasn't I informed?
That's hardly my problem. I am to make a withdrawal from my server and don't really see a reason to discuss it with you any further.
Of course, ma'am. Apologies.
Smart man. I'll be on my way then. Man, that worked out way better than it did in my test game.
Hey, Alex, I think I got something.
Do we finally know where the codebreaker is?
Getting there. I managed to narrow it down to servers in Section 6. But there's something else.
Yes? Is something wrong?
I don't know yet. Something seems off. It seems as if someone was repeatedly trying to send me multiple data packages through the grid.
Someone on the inside? Does that mean we're burned? Should we abort?
So far, whoever it is, they were helping us. disabling alert flags, pointing me to the right nodes in the grid and such.
That sounds strangely convenient. I don't like this, but we proceed with the plan. We're too close to turn back now.
Understood. I'll try to trace the source.
Let's focus on the primary objective. And Zoya?
Yes. Be careful, I know.
Any intel about the security up ahead?
You could use a maintenance corridor to proceed. I was able to disable the security there.
Oh, nice work. Thanks. I'm nearing the server sections. Any intel about the security there?
I managed to disable multiple countermeasures, but some were inaccessible from here. So it's still possible you might run into something there.
Understood. Thanks for the heads up.
Okay, so it sounds like we're in pretty good shape for our final approach. Oh, I see. Okay, the top path is the maintenance corridor, the bottom one's the server area. We'll take the path that does not have a forced combat encounter. As per the building schematics, there's a maintenance level above each server room, with cooling systems and service access to the electronics and wiring. But the Yggdrasil engineers aren't known to leave any security loopholes, so some countermeasures are to be expected. Unless we disabled them, which we did. Thankfully, Zoya has managed to disable the security measures in this area, allowing Alex to proceed without any troubles. Super duper. Scratch that. Apparently we have a forced encounter after all. This guard was obviously taking his drone for a walk, and it was just our bad luck to stumble into his path. Well, just his bad luck, really, but let's not get into that. Whoops, that's for me. Sorry. Really gotta stop doing that. I do wonder, though, if we'll get to the point where we have multiple runners in battle simultaneously. A bit late for that shield, buddy, but better late than never, I suppose. Slowed. Doesn't leave us much energy to work with. And that leaves us with even less. But we'll make do. No, this one. One more time. I'm gonna celebrate. Ow. Fine, sorry. Jeez, I'll stop singing. Not that you can really call that singing, I suppose. More just reciting lyrics. Shields out. Go for the finisher. No, that won't work. Poisoned. What will I do? And just like that, I'm cured. Also, I got an Omni Slash. Ooh, we also upgraded a card. Nice. Man, we almost made it through the whole demo without upgrading a single card. I think we'll go for Powerful Slash. We could use more damage output. Plus, as we've seen, we're not always guaranteed to get a combo. Oh, hey, first aid. And we're at max health, so we can actually loot it this time. Also, I just realized that Zoya has health too. So again, that really does seem to imply that at some point, she might be joining us in battle. Though I will say I'm uncertain how you juggle multiple decks during a fight. Maybe I'm just off base with that. Maybe it is just Alex as a solo combatant. Alex took with her what she could. Surely Karel would be able to find a buyer for that somewhere. $100, not bad. That's like 2 drone wallets. Codebreaker dead ahead. I'm sure this will go swimmingly and absolutely nothing will go wrong. That's usually how these things go. Section 6. Alex finally arrived to the designated section of the server area. The security seemed to be less tight here. Though odd, she was grateful for the momentary reprieve. She couldn't shake off the frustration as she scanned the endless rows of racks, each looking the same as the others. There was no way of knowing which one housed the software they're after. Hopefully, Zoya found that out by now.
Zoya, I'm in Section 6. Looking at a lot of servers over here. Care to narrow it down?
I pinpointed the package to the server 2501. But Alex, wait.
What is it? We're a little against the clock here.
That odd communication I mentioned earlier, I traced its source, and it's either originating or it's being rerouted through that exact server.
What? Okay, what does that mean?
It means it could be a trap. Once you log into that console, it could trigger like 1,000,000 countermeasures, and we're toast. I can try to manually bypass that. I'm going upstairs.
You are doing no such thing, Zoya. Stay where you are.
You said it yourself. We're too close to turn back now. Zoya out.
No, Zoya! Shit!
Kids will be kids. I'm sure she'll be fine. The plot thickens. Time to move. Zoya quickly ran the purge programs to cover her tracks, only to find that the logs were already wiped clean. The work of her mysterious benefactor, no doubt. Without wasting a moment, she stood from the console and headed straight for the stairwell, ignoring the no entry for unauthorized personnel sign as she pushed the doors open. Racing against time, Zora charged up the 6 levels of stairs that separated her from the restricted area's top floor. The surge of adrenaline made her reckless. It wasn't until the doors locked behind her that she realized she had walked into a man-trap room. Through the reinforced glass, she could see the blinking lights of the servers of Section 6. Alex standing among them, with a furious expression on her face. Zoya tugged at the server room door, but as the red light above the door suggested, they were locked tight. Alex's expression turned to terror. They were so close, only to mess it up with such a stupid mistake. But just as Zoya was bracing for the sound of alarms and the arrival of squads of security guards, the light above the door suddenly switched to green, and the doors opened with a short hiss. Zoya let out a sigh of relief, followed by a shaky laugh. She turned to Alex, whose expression mirrored her own confusion. Nodding at each other, they wordlessly agreed to reflect on what had just happened later. Now we've got work to do, Zoya thought to herself as she approached server 2501 and plugged in her deck. Let's get this over with. Oh, and one last hacking puzzle for the road. Okay, I'm just going to burn through this one because we are past time and closing in on the hour mark. I've got to wrap this up. Not that I'm not enjoying this. I actually really like this one. The more linear and well-presented story really helps it stand out from other deck builders. But I have so many other demos I need to check out before Steam Next Fest ends. That's the thing I really hate about Next Fest, is the expiration date on a lot of those demos. You don't know which ones are going to no longer be playable once the event is over. So it really kind of rushes you to try them all out in a really short period of time. Which, for someone like me who also is looking at potentially making content about them, it's problematic. Okay, 3 separate payloads again. The farthest one is the one we need. But we will try to get these other 2. They are heavily secured, though. Not sure we'll be able to dish out that kind of damage in 2 turns. Haroon is useless for this. We don't want to destroy our payloads. Walls down. Primary objective is open. Keep whittling the secondaries. That's one. Which nets us $500. Not bad. We'll make sure we secure the primary. Which nets us unknown package, but we are not done here. We need exactly 8 damage, which we cannot do with the cards we currently have. Oh, well, that makes it easy. And we're good. Another $500 richer. Warning, if you have not yet completed the objective, the hack will be unsuccessful if you jack out now. Yeah, I think we'll be okay. But thanks.
Alex, I've bypassed the server defenses. Package download in progress. Shit, I set off multiple alarms. I'll try to disable them, but we've got incoming.
Of course we do. I'll deal with that.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that seems like exactly the sort of thing you'd want guarding your room full of delicate servers. Who am I to question the obvious security experts? Good run. Almost knocked its shield out. Oh, hey, wow. Shields actually ate that shot. Nice. Okay, what are we doing this time? Preparation. Dump charge. Quick attack. Powerful slash. Focus. And finisher. Oh, one more time would... Well, that's risky. Big finisher. Here comes the boom. Yep, ready or not. Oh man, that knocked out half our hand. Preparation? Okay, okay. We'll dump. Uppercut, because it's the only one that costs energy. No point in using focus first. We'd have to discard our attack card. Ow. Alright, let's drop this thing. We are past the hour mark. You're done, son. Hey, and look at that, multiple upgrades. Not that it really matters at this point, but we'll have a look. Let's go reliable. Can't always count on combos. Ooh, energy. Energy cycling is nice. Though unending is interesting too. But energy is just the safer bet.
How's that download going, Zoya? We have to go.
Download complete. But wait, that's strange.
What is it?
This is not what we were looking for. We've been played. It's...
Good evening. May I suggest we leave the premises? There are multiple hostiles incoming.
Ah, shit.
And thus it ends. Or is this perhaps only the beginning? Either way, we're done here for now. But I really enjoyed this. I mean, I know it's yet another deck builder, and those are kind of a dime a dozen these days, but I feel like this is a really well-made one. I also like the characters, I like the narrative, I like the art style, the aesthetics. And, of course, being fully voiced is also a nice bonus. And the voice acting is pretty decent. I think it's actually one of the better ones I've heard from a small indie game like this. Not bad. Not bad at all. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I believe this game is also slated to hit full launch by the end of the year, so let me know if you'd like to see me revisit it when it does. But for now, this is RetconRaider signing off. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Dragon Matrix 7, Mathew Smith, Revenant, Alois, Drakiith, ErieV23, EgonAlter, Emile, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you would also like to support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the Patreon, the PayPal, or even the Nexus GG page. Links are in the description.